Well, hello.
Welcome.
Welcome to another session of Season 1, Episode 4 of Genesis to Revelation Epic Explorations.
G2 Re.
G2 baby.
Hi, welcome back. We're here on another Saturday, and this is our last week that we're talking about our trip to South Africa. Even though we could have went on for probably about another year,
Yeah.
but we're going to conclude this week by talking about just a little bit of the housing.
Baby.
The housing was fantastic, and we want to talk about that and share with you some of the things that we saw in South Africa, and also we're preparing to purchase a home in South Africa. It's going to take a lot more research. It's going to take us going down there, but we want to just share with you some of the things that we will be doing and show you some of the sites on what we saw. We did get a chance to visit one property, so we're going to bring that to you. And the other ones are on our next trip to South Africa. They're there so we can look at them and talk about the different lifestyles. So um, we also want to talk about what we like about the properties. So the properties that we saw, the things that we came home with, which was so different from what we see here in the States. We're at the retirement age, so the things that we're looking for, conveniences that we want, things that we want to do, that's it's so important because again, the transition that we're making, we're not ready to be in the senior citizen home. No, and I don't think that'll ever come. We want something that's going to be freestand, that we can keep our independence and be active. We're gardeners.
Right.
We like lifestyle. We like
documentarians.
Yes, we like lifestyle styles to get out. I'm an author. We like to be able to just go out and meet people and be publicly. So we're just going to go through, before we get into all of that, we're going to show you some footage of some of the houses, and then we'll talk about the steps of buying property in South Africa.
Okay. I think the thing is more important while I'm going through these things about buying houses in South Africa is that we are prepared to live there.
Yes.
So what we want to do is just give you a glimpse of what the houses are like in South Africa so that you won't have the misconception for those of you who haven't been to Africa that they're basically an undeveloped country where there's no modernization at all.
And so the one that we're going to go to, not that one first, we're going to go to some of the different properties we just saw these from the outside. So these are not properties that we actually visited, but these are ones that we're going to visit. And then the last one, we'll show you where we did visit when we had our trip. So the places, they range from, you can get in apartments, condominiums, lifestyles, where we're looking at more ourselves at the Gulf Estates lifestyles, which suit us, because there's everything there. One thing about it, like we have places here like Summerlin, that these communities include their grocery stores, places to eat. They have the same type of communities in different areas, and they include everything from hospital facilities to places that you need to buy your groceries to big box stores. And so I found that to be very, very satisfying because the roads are very different there. And, of course, everyone drives on the other side of the street. We are drivers, but myself, I don't think I would want to probably do a lot of driving when I first arrived, maybe in the next few years. But looking at the properties and the amenities that were on the properties, that I saw less driving. I saw a lot of less doing a lot of things. So we're going to give you a couple of glances at these properties and move on from there, and we'll talk about the steps to buying homes in South Africa.
This one in particular, I don't know if that's. Let's try this one. It does mostly.
So while cameraman is working on trying to get that correctly, we had like 4 properties we were going to bring to you, and this one is this the one, Mont Blanc?
Let's do this one here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different opinion on what you would like your house to look, and I tell you one thing, South Africa didn't disappoint. They did not disappoint, from everything from the condominiums, clubhouse apartments, to lifestyles where there is, big, huge neighborhoods, and everything is impacted in these neighborhoods. Mind you, when you're looking at these neighborhoods, they all have security. So you're not gonna. I mean, I'm talking about security like our best estates here in the U.S. You have to go through the security to get to these homes. So when you're driving in, you're already in
It's gonna be really cool. We're just gonna enter inside and show you guys properly everything. I think you guys will like it, and also you guys will know and understand the offer.
in the days of Las Vegas, we had this kind of a service that everything was manicured and pretty.
Right.
Now, in the inner cities, you won't see this, but in these different Gulf estates, you'll see everything perfectly manicured, everything totally taken care of, and security. There's even those people driving those little motorcycles. They do carry services like stores, box stores, from your groceries to food, but everything that you could possibly want, we saw at these different estates. Now they do have security wires on there, a lot of them, but at the same time, inside of the complexes, you didn't see a lot of security because it was not necessary because they have 24-hour security. Alarms on every one of the homes. Is the crime rate high? Absolutely
No,
not.
no.
But at the same time, since the apartheid and ever since then, people were looking for security, so they made sure they built all of the Gulf communities are that way.
Right.
So we're just scrolling through what we saw, and the places that we did visit. We did do some tours where we were there too, just other places that we didn't actually visit in the inside. But the comparison of homes and the lifestyles and the pricing, I found that you can probably, these are new homes, all of these are new builds, and they have some resales. You can probably get into a house around, starting in US dollars, I would say around $75,000 to $80,000.
Yes, that's correct.
This is not this property, but $75,000 to $80,000. You don't have to buy new. You can buy. There's other properties when you're looking and you're going, of course, with an agent, so you'll be able to look at those. But the steps for the housing, so while he's finding the videos, I want to talk about the steps. The first step would be financing.
Right.
So financing is something that is really important because you have to decide if you're coming and you're going to be going there for, what are you looking for? Are you going to look for a cash property? Because that's possible too. You can pay cash and not have to worry about any of the steps in financing. But the majority of people, they want financing.
Right.
Their financing is not like ours. Theirs is 20 years. So everything that they do is basically a 20-year. Their mortgages are called bonds.
Right.
So that's what that would be. You will be dealing with a bond. And if you're going to be dealing with that bond, then they have the steps where you're going to be looking at affordability, because they do look at your, I don't call it your FICO score,
Right.
but they look at how much money you make as far as affordability.
Right.
They call it the step 2 is affordability, see the process to see if you're qualified. And so they're going to be finding you the perfect property. And
Right.
this is working with a seasoned, not someone that doesn't know, a seasoned real estate agent. And that is so important, to get the right agent to help you to look for your home that has the qualifications to take you through all the steps. So the finances is first, and then finding the perfect property would be the next thing. And that is a search that, not coming from the country, I wouldn't take it lightly to say, oh, I made a decision today and not went and checked all of
Right.
the details out.
That's correct.
You need to check out the areas, you need to check out, the services that you need, and making those lists for yourself is going to help you a lot. List on your basic needs. I mean, are you a person that is, sick? Have you been having doctor's appointments? Do you need to be close to a hospital? And even though, look at the future as well, to say that, do I need to get the medical attention? Do they have connections with this? How am I going to pay my bills? What's close to me in my vicinity? Am I going to be a driver? You have to know these things in advance before you even decide to purchase.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's good to put things, like they say, pencil to paper.
Yes.
And starting to make these lists for yourselves, because actually, when we had a list before we went to South Africa, but then going to South Africa, we had a different list. This list just, it expanded so greatly after seeing the properties, after seeing the people, after seeing the fact that we do know we want to move there.
Right.
It's now deciding, how do we want to move there? Do you just want to, if you have a property that you want, that maybe you're not living in, you're renting it out, do you want to just cash out on that, go over there and just buy? Or no, do you want to take your time and look for something that's maybe not just livable for you, but
Right.
also you might want to make an income from it as well and say, I want an income property.
Yes.
Then you have to be thinking about the fact that, can I qualify for this and will I be able to manage all of the things because I don't know the system. But one
Right.
thing about it, South Africa, they speak English.
Yes.
So English is not a problem and translation is not a problem. The problems come in more of you vetting people to make sure that you get, and it's not a problem, but just make sure you vet to get someone that is actually legal to do this. Don't go get your friend or cousin that knows somebody because it's a process of buying a home. I have heard so many horror stories from people in other parts of Africa, but I just feel like that's anywhere you go. It's not Africa. You have to do your due diligence.
Anywhere you go.
Anywhere you go,
Even
do
in the
your
United States.
due diligence, and that's on you and me as individuals to say, who are you? What am I signing? So the next step would be going to, once you get that real estate agent, is to signing a purchase agreement. But you don't want to do that unless you have a seasoned agent that knows all the details and he's on your side, because a seasoned agent is going to be able to inform you of things, even though, because you're the buyer, so he's representing you. He's going to be able to tell you this house has pitfalls, they don't have good rates, or blah blah blah. And then even with your financing, they can steer you towards people because they're the ones that's going to be making the commission.
Right.
So they work for you. You want to make sure, and I know this because our son is a real estate agent and a broker here in the States. So I have a little bit more background on what I should expect in real estate. So it's like a cheat sheet, but at the same time, you're in another country, so there's different rules and laws,
Yes.
requirements. Yeah, applying for funds or a bond, and again, a bond is no more than getting a mortgage. You have to do that, and you should not just be applying to one time because they're going to run your credit. Apply to multiple banks at one time, so you can have a choice. Because when they're going to run you through, and you're going to be applying for these, at least you'll have at least 3 or 4 picks to say they have better this, or it's a discussion so you can figure out what works best for you and your situation at
Right.
the time. A lot of people want, even though it's a 20-year mortgage, they might want to cash out or pay half of that down or put money towards something else, so you have to figure out if you're not buying something new, you might want to have a fixer-upper and make sure that that's tied into the loan. Now, do I know that they'll do that? Absolutely not. But these are the things that you put on your question list, on the list of saying what things happen.
Right.
And then conveyances. That means that if you're going to be getting into conveyances, you want to be able to have an attorney. There's 2 types of attorneys if you're going to get into that, because that means that you're going to be securing the property. That means that you're going to need a bond attorney and a transfer attorney. So the bond attorney is not needed ever if you're going to pay cash, but the transfer attorney, you will need that person because there's all kinds of things. There's clearance letters, the confirmation of that, a clearance letter, and with the tax affairs that's no more than what we have to say. That's the IRS, basically who you're dealing with. So you want to make sure that you have someone that is competent to do that. And then you have all these other clearances. These properties were absolutely breathtaking. I don't know what we're looking at now, this one, but when I tell you, you have to kind of keep your mind about you to say, I could have this. And the exchange of money right now from the United States to South Africa, it's amazing. So the deals that you're getting now, I'm not sure if they're going to be there for years afterwards.
Exactly.
But, we're already in our senior years, so we don't want to miss out. And we want to make sure, even though we have property here in the States, a couple of properties, we don't want to miss out on saying that we didn't get in for something that we know that we want to go back to the motherland, as well as be able to have that community environment, a feeling, that you're around other people and being involved in things. And that's one thing about most of these estates, you didn't feel isolated, even though they showed you, that these are big, huge towers. I'm not a fan of living in an apartment, but they have what they call freestands.
Right.
And so all of these places, they would build places. They will build you a home. They can build you a home, or you can find one for resale. And basically, some of them even had the amenities if you wanted to have off-grid.
Right.
So we moved from saying we wanted to be just at Stein City because we found another place. Like I said, so the search, you should be very thorough, that actually allowed you to build off-grid. And they had the architects on there, on hand for you to build off-grid, to have your off-grid borehole, which is a well,
Right.
as well as your solar. So, the possibilities, and that you can have in South Africa, and there's no limitations on. You just have to kind of figure out what you want: farm life,
Right.
you want city life,
Right.
do you want to be more in a community? Because a lot of the Africans there that are from Africa, I mean that South Africa region, they are in the cities a lot. But one
They
thing
are.
about it, they
They
go
work.
home,
Right.
and then they have a village life.
Right.
So there's a lot of villages in what we would call them little city annex, and they go home to their villages because that's a different type of lifestyle. And what they're simulating to me in these big Gulf estates is it's more of a simulated lifestyle where you have everything too. And for people like us, excuse me, it's a soft landing because we don't know the culture. We want to, but we don't know the culture. And to be respectful of the culture, you have to be there to learn because the only way you're going to learn is by being around someone. And they take great pride in their culture, and I'm happy for them to do that. I would love to take pride in it as well. But even being an African in America, we don't know all the details.
No, we don't.
But to go and be, to be useful in a community, they didn't, that didn't ask for you necessarily, but at the same time, they're doing what they need to do. We need to do our part to say that we can fit in to do what we need to do too.
Right.
And then as become more community minded, become more acclimated to the environment. But when you don't know, you should be able to put yourself in a place, as far as me and my husband are saying, a safe place.
Right.
Yes. So are we looking at Pecan Wood?
Yeah,
now?
we're going to look at Pecan Woods now, Gulf Estate.
This is another Gulf estate, and this is one. I'm not sure if they have property still for sale now in this one, but there's always resales, and you can find that through the agents. I liked this property because it had a lot of waterfront areas, and I like being around water, and that was really nice. And so, once again, when you're coming into these properties, everyone has security.
They do. You cannot get in.
I'm so impressed because you're not going to just come into the neighborhood and say, I'm just in here. And the same thing, that security is all night. This one is more of a fishing community, boating, and they have free stands, they have apartments, they have all of that in this community. And for me, having green areas, that's one thing all of these places had was green areas. But having those green areas that you can relax and be able to participate.
Hey, reviewer. Hello, Caleb. I don't want to mispronounce your name. Kabiola. Thank you.
And with these neighborhoods I'm looking at, it's amazing because the beauty, the nature is what we're going for. We really want to preserve that nature. Where we're located at in Las Vegas, there's not a lot of nature, not a lot of greenery. And I love the fact that they're into preserving the greenery in the neighborhoods. And so whether you're in an estate, whether you're in an apartment, a condo, they have these homes they call clusters. And in the clusters, it's a beautiful thing too, because again, you feel like you're a part of something. Now, this is not, most of these places do not allow people from the outside unless you're visiting. You're visiting, but you can't come in and use a community pool. You can't come in and use these facilities unless you have security ID and you're visiting. And I find that kind of, nice to me. In my ideal, I think that's nice without you worrying about, the security is there, so you're in a secure area. I really do appreciate the beauty in South Africa, and I believe it's just going to increase more and more in the value. So I'm urging any of us that are not living in South Africa, if it's something that's on your mind, if it has been in your mind, we're just here to kind of just help you while we're helping ourselves to share the knowledge, because this is a place that we had dreamed of going for over 20, well, for myself, over 20 years. I wrote a book about it, and I, as a child author, and just seeing the reality of it, it's more than I could ever aspire to see, and it's beautiful. It hasn't disappointed in any area. We're just still looking for now different properties to see what else we can do.
That was I think it's Kabiola. He was saying that family check out properties in Pretoria near Johannesburg. It's about an hour from Joburg. Gated Golf Estate, Mukuloof property goes about 12,000 square meters, if I'm not mistaken.
And I think we have a clip, and then I won't be able to. I'm going to massacre the name Makula or Makula. I think you have a clip of that one.
Kabiola. Okay, Makula. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do have that one. I think that's what.
Yeah, and I believe you, and we thank you for that. That's one of our viewers, because we plan on coming back to do that. It's so much, and we couldn't do that in a 14-day stay. So now we realize we need to be there, and we're going to try to be there for at least 30 days.
30 days to
Yes.
2 months.
Yes, because we definitely need to get, your budget is everything, but I can tell you something. There's something there for everyone. I don't care what your budget is. If you can find it, if you can live, I'm in the United States, but if we can live here the way that we do in the United States, I know that we're not going to have a problem. I just want to make sure that we move into a neighborhood, that we are acclimated, we feel like we're at home, and we can go from there. I know we won't be at home immediately, but I want to be able to at least, blend in, to learn the culture, to be able to see more culture, and just have a good time there. This is
Makula.
So I'm not sure if this is what our viewer was talking about. This is the place.
I don't know. Let's see.
This one is in
This one is in, I think it's either Joburg or either.
right out of Joburg.
Yeah.
Okay,
near
so we're going to
Pretoria.
definitely try to bring up that one and do that one on another video.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Yeah, so this property, these were smaller units, very efficient. But I like the cleanness, the beauty of it. We've had to try to decide and think about things too, because we have a bigger property here in the States, and it was a lot of maintenance. And then we said to ourselves, do we want to go there and do that kind of work, or do we just
No.
really want, at our age, do we want to just go there and be able to be a part of the community? There are so many ways to be a part of the community, because if you're hiring people to do things, or if you have services that you can offer, you can do that. And you have to realize where you you are
Right.
in your life.
Right.
Where are you in your life? Not my life, but in your life. Where are
Exactly.
you? Are you at the age and stage in your life that you just want to be an activist, 100% on the grounds running?
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if you're in your 60s, let's be realistic. You can run, but how far? You've already done that, and you've already lived that life
Right.
in the States. You've given, most of us have given 40 plus years of service in it,
Mhm.
and we're not coming there without anything, because if you have the funds, if you have retirements, if you have that, you can also be and also own your own businesses, which we do.
Right.
You're still contributing, and to be mentors, you're still contributing, but you have to find the best way so you can live the best life and be able
I
to be
agree.
good to yourself as well as to the communities that you're migrating to.
I think the thing is, it needs to be considered when you're an expat from the United States moving to South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going there as a tourist, that's one thing.
Right.
You just go as a tourist and enjoy the country on the continent that you're in, experience the culture, start learning some of the nuances of where you're visiting at. But if you're going to live in South Africa, and my wife was already giving you some of the important steps that you have to consider, not just consider, but do, or otherwise you will fail.
Right.
So I think the thing is, one is having that steady income from back in the States that you can count on, that's there every month,
Yes.
whether it's your own business, whether it's from some type of, like I say, money that you have been given or gifted in the state. If it's a job, it has to be a job that's going to be remote, that you're not tied to a brick and mortar company, because otherwise you can't live in another country. You can have investment properties. You can go there and buy properties without having the intent of moving that into that continent, and still use it as an Airbnb rental. So that's more income, coming in. So, but you need to make sure you take every step for the infrastructure it's going to take for you to move from the States to another continent. In this case, Africa. You have to do your due diligence, and you have to make sure that everyone you get that you are going to live in that continent is vetted as a licensed professional, and that they have the power to execute your desire to live on another continent.
Right. And these steps are so valid that you take. You have to understand again that it is a different system, and your due diligence is going to be done no matter what, but you don't have to be surprised by it. Do your due diligence prior to you getting there, so
Yes.
at least you'll have some educated questions and for people there, and you can maybe seek out, once you get there, someone else that's even more knowledgeable than yourself, and they'll connect you. You'll learn to connect the dots. The municipal clearances, this is something that shows that there is no outstanding municipal charges. That's like the deeds, the ownership or registration. You know, you find out, and we call them here like clouds on the title.
Right.
And so you definitely want to have someone, because again, it's like going to a foreign country. You don't speak the language, even though they're speaking English, but you don't, their words transfer so easy into words that we don't understand.
Right.
Levies, you need to make sure levies are paid up to date on different things, because levies, once again, if that's another problem, and you can say, oh, I love this property. These are on homes that were already previously owned by other owners.
Right.
You don't have any of these issues if you're buying new
Right.
properties. But if it's a property that's been owned by someone else previous, any of these things can come up. And then there's the register of the property or the buyer's name to make sure that that's correct. Because, like I said, you'll hear these stories, and this is not so much in South Africa, but they bought this property and then they're coming back to get it 5 years, the original owners. And so all of these things you want to know from the bond, which is the mortgage. You want to start to familiarize yourself to say, before I get there, let me at least have some of these common questions, which I'm going to run into later. You might as well have them sooner. And then that way you can effectively still look at houses, still look at properties that might suit you, look at neighborhoods, communities, the location to proximity to schools, places of worship. If you, if you go to church, stores that you might visit. Can you drive, or do you want a driver? Can you also put those things into your budgets? Are you going to have a driver when you go out? And if so, factor those costs in too, because that's going to be a part of your living. Most of these places are that's in the Gulf of States, and I will say that you don't have to worry because they have backup generators, so you don't have to worry about so much as the what do they call those? The brownouts. I mean, when they have no electric.
Oh, they're
load shedding.
Load shedding.
Yeah, load shedding. You don't have to worry about load shedding so much, especially in any of the newer developments, because they have backup generators. So if the power goes off, and even when we stayed at the Airbnb home, we had the power went off for 1 second and the backup just kicked in. So you're not without, But now if you're buying something that's older in an older community, you might have that possibility to have to work out with them, because some things happen very easily and it's fast there, and then some things won't be so fast. So like I said, learning the culture is something I would rather learn the culture and not have to worry about everything at my home, because I'm trying to learn the culture and to find a place where we're acclimating and also being useful and being helpful to ourselves as well as to others. But to do that, for me, we want to do it from a spot where we're not having to expend all of our energy out on just, resources that we're trying to man a home that has things that we have no questions, we have no answers about, but we have all these questions.
Right.
So I said it is valuable to figure it out.
Yeah, I think the thing is that it really it is and affecting us, and has when we were in Africa, is that we were on the continent. And as my wife said, she wrote a book 20 years ago. Actually, we've been married about 17 years, so it's longer than that. So about 30 years ago, she wrote a book on Logos Africa. When we purchased our house here in North Las Vegas in 2017, we have, been thinking about, some things that we need to do in our life. But on the front porch, I need to show you this. On the front of our porch was stamped in the front porch of our house.
Can't get over this.
I can't, because it's prophetic.
Yeah.
She wrote a book about 30 years ago on Logos of Africa.
Let's say 20.
20, okay, say 20.
Yeah.
And then she started looking at, we turned off our cable. We turned our cable totally off. And so all we look at 90% of the time now is YouTube.
Yeah.
And she found a show called The Real South Africa. And from then it blossomed. She looked at everything on Africa, and that's all we look at. And so I want to show you this this picture of what was on our front porch.
He calls this a water stamp.
It's a water stamp.
Every time the water comes, this is what's on our front porch doorstep, this water stamp. And it's so amazing because it's there. And
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's the continent of Africa.
And it's so strange, and you can see the outlines where it dries up at and how it dissipates, but it's there. And this stamp is there every time we water, and the water comes on, and the stamp of South. And the way that I found the real South Africa, I was just telling him, I really wanted to visit, and I'm not sure. So I put in Africa, and the South Africa video came up, and the real South Africa, they had all of the questions, and somewhat the way they travel, the way that they talked, I found out that was our tribe of how I wanted to translate and to be talked to. They are, they are Americans, that, that they have their own story. You can go to their channel, and they moved there. But it was so convincing and comforting to know
Yes. Mhm.
for us. And they're a younger couple, and they went there. He had a very reliable and respectable duty in the United States, and so did his wife.
He was Secret Service for George
Yes,
Bush.
and she's a doctor, his wife. And so I'm speaking to them to say that, you know what, I felt like that we weren't being, not that anyone else was lying, but you knew you were getting the truth because they were living their truth. And as a business owner, I've owned the child care for 35 years. When you're out there and you're putting yourself out there and it's just you, you know that there's a line of truth that has to be with that when you're able to put yourself out there to do everything you're doing, and people can comment on it. Every comment was good about them. Every comment. And they're out there every day putting their life on the lines for people to say, we want to bring you this luxury
Right. Tourism,
tourism
4 to 5 star accommodations every time.
And they bring groups of 50 at one time, and I couldn't say enough. So I was ecstatic, and the only reason we didn't take the trip, and I say that again, is because we ended up having a group of 14, and we were going by ourselves at first. The dynamics changed. Our children are adults, so all of them have different things in their lives. They're very active in their lives, and they have very successful lifestyles. So we had to do a blend, and we went in a different way. It was
family.
just spectacular. It was wonderful. But on the next trip, we plan on going with the real South Africa, and we will be making those arrangements in the next months to come.
Right.
But because we have so much to do, we know we have so much more exploring to do.
We do.
We don't. This is
And
just the
want
tip
to.
of the iceberg.
Right.
So we have to go there lots more times. And even when we move there, I plan on exploring, and my husband as well. We say we'll be exploring with them,
Yeah.
going to Cape Town, going to Durban, going to all of the different places. They're
Kruger
expanding.
National Park.
Yes, they're expanding, and we want to expand. It's just an easier place when you're already situated on the continent. So
Right.
we're trying to get on the continent for good reasons, and then also our families, hoping that they will join us at some point in time because we have our grandchildren.
Right.
We're very close to our families. I'm close to my siblings, but somebody has to make the step.
Yeah.
So we're going to make the step. I'm going to go back to the portion of what we were talking about. After you've done everything you needed to do, the transfer of the property, it can take, starting out initially 3 to 4 weeks, but totally it's going to be about 2 months, and that's if everything is in order. So yeah, and I just wanted to put that in, and then he's going to show you another clip.
Penwood Estates.
Penwood.
Yeah, Penwood Estates.
Penwood Estates. And these are ones that we are yet to view. We're viewing these by video. And once again, this one has lakefront properties. These estates, again, when you go into them and you look at them, and then you can look up all of these at different Pecanwood.
Pecanwood.
Pecanwood Estates. And we did look at this one already.
We did.
Yes, we looked
Okay.
at this one already. So he's showing you this is a do-over. But
I think I went inside, show it inside how they look.
okay, that's fine.
Okay.
But these places, when you look at these golf estates, all of them have a different amenity. Like I say, some are lakefront waterfronts. Some of them, the one that I really can't wait till we get to is Stein City. It had a lagoon, and that one is the one that we actually visited. They said it was the most expensive, and for me, it was expensive, but it wasn't expensive like that. It's something that's affordable. Definitely was affordable, and depending on what you wanted to purchase. Now, they had expensive to the point where, of course, I probably wouldn't afford that, and my husband in this life, but at the same time, they had those properties there too. But it's up to your taste, and this is Stein City, and he's showing you the clip, and then we'll show you our own personal tour that we had there. But this place is massive. It's what, 2,000
acres.
2,000 acres. Beautiful, and everything that I needed. That's what I liked. I needed, and my husband needed, was there.
Yes.
They're building the community for seniors with doctors on hand as well. Doctors right there on the estate to do well checks, to perform all things, and plus the hospital is what, 10 minutes?
10 minutes away.
They have a helipad
Yes.
for you if you need to go country hopping to one place to another, or whatever else is
They have a
necessary.
similar store like Walmart, a big box store there.
The big box store is not in the community, but
Right.
it's right outside of it when you drive off of this massive estate. I love the fact that you could take a, they have these buses inside of the community, so there's no need for you to drive, and they take you from one stop to the next, which is so amazing. They will take you from one destination to the next when you see everything is there that you could think of that you want. They have free stands, they have clusters, they have the apartments, and the apartments started at around 100,000, 110, 120,
Yes.
and they go up to about, I think, the two-bedroom ones, well, I think 130, 140.
Right.
And then starting around the houses that are really apartment homes, 500, 800. But see, and there's so many variations because they come either totally furnished. Now you're going to get into more money, but if you're coming and you're moving as an expat, you may not want to bring anything. So for people that have resales and you have a home to sell in the States, this is a no-brainer. And this is part of our tour that the gentleman was giving us at Stein City. So we looked at the smaller apartments first, and everything about this place, the security was amazing. They had
The biometric security on
biometric
every
security.
entrance, and I think you can see that there. Let me see. I'm gonna pause this for a second so you can see this. It just at the door entry, so I'm gonna have to catch it so that you can
There it
see
is, right there.
right there.
Yeah,
Right there.
yeah,
That's a biometric security station right there. It's either eye or hand fingerprint. That's the only way you can get into this property. If after they let you in the gate
yes,
and you've been proven why you're there. So you can't just walk in somebody's house or knock on the door and to get to their unit without going past these security biometric units.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And security is something that, if again, everybody has their things and what's going to be priority on their list. For us, coming someplace for the first time, security would be something that we're looking for to see how we fit in this.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, our family was sprawled out. That was our grandson. We're coming in because we're looking and saying, wow, this place already is comfortable. But, for a single person or for a person working out of the country and then going there for a short stay, they had short terms available too. They had rentals that were available just for if you wanted to rent to own. So they had so many different things that I had never even heard of. So the rent to own was amazing there. I didn't think you could find anything. So you could rent for up to 2 years.
And you can sublease after you say if you rent a place there, you come back to the States maybe a few months. While you're gone, they will sublet your rental out
Yes.
so that you can have income still coming in.
Yes, they'll take care of that for you. Yes, and so basically, they're your property managers, and your place is secure as well as you're making money off of it. And now you can do this process up to 2 years, is what I'm told, and I'm not sure about all the details of talking to the agent how that works out. But if you can rent for 2 years, and then you decide that you want to purchase, all of the money that you pay towards rent will go towards your purchase price. The purchase price that you started with, I think, will remain the same, as well as I think your interest rate may be just a little higher, but those things are just, you can't find that anywhere.
Right.
And we found that to be just phenomenal for what we're looking for. Because once again, like I said, it depends on how quickly you think you're going to get someplace. If you're going to get there in the next year, fine. But if you're older and you're saying you're going to get there next 1 year is a lot of time for us.
It is.
2 years is a lot of time for us.
It is.
So you think about everything. Think about your age, your stage. Think about your health. Think about the things. I see my grandson over there relaxing like this is his home already. But you think about, what it is that you need. And by the way, these homes and these apartment homes right here, they are so elegant.
And they come with elevators.
You
Yes,
said it before.
elevators inside.
Elevators, yeah. My husband is a retired disabled vet, and we use walkers.
Right.
We use scooters at times, and sometimes his back is. It just depends on where he's at that day. So that elevator was really a hooray for me. I said I really love the fact that they have the elevators.
They're so elegantly done.
Yeah.
To sit out on a patio like that and look at all the greenery, it makes it look like you're not living in an apartment.
Right. So you still
in a
have
home.
outdoor space.
Yes.
Yeah, you still have this outdoor space that's going to be relaxing. And in this one, they just, and all of the green areas, you don't take care of them. They do. The green areas, They have so you're just looking at the beauty, enjoying it,
Mm-hmm.
and so if you're a person that likes that, but then again, you don't want to have to deal with the gardening portion.
Right.
Now we do all of our gardening here,
We do.
you know, but also we think about our future.
Yeah, we
We're
have to.
not, we can't just we can't we want to stay stuck in time, but we know we can't.
We can't.
But if you want those things and say, well, you know what, this community offers that, and then there's communities that offer gardens that are in this community had
Right.
a garden. They had a wildlife area.
Mhm.
They had all of those things. So if you want to see wildlife too, there's more. You can see that right at some of these properties. This place was phenomenal. This is a bedroom that they turned
To an office, right.
You know, but you can say, well, you know what? We have work offices that we work out of. It could be an office, or it could be a spare bedroom for the grandchildren.
Right.
You know, and you have uses for things like that. So, this is the number. I think apartment number 2.
This is number 1, I think.
This is number 1. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I think
the
this is a
number
2 bedroom. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a 2 bedroom. But either way, you can never get tired of looking at the places, and in our mind, it's so beautiful, so much to take in,
Mhm.
and we still didn't have enough time. We still don't have enough time. We look at these videos, and we're still asking questions to ourselves. But this property was breathtaking,
Mhm.
and this is another. Is this a different one?
This is different.
patio.
I think this is a 3-bedroom with
See,
two.
look at that
two
lagoon
lofts.
out there that everyone is looking over. There's a lagoon, and you can hear children and people out there playing. And of course, the lagoon is private. They do everything from when they do that water boarding.
Right. Mhm.
The lagoon, they have canoes.
Mhm.
There's water slides, and this is all for the people of the community, as well as they have a school there.
Yes, they do.
They have 2 schools.
I think
And
K
it's
through 12.
K through 12.
Yeah.
It's science, math,
Mm-hmm.
school is what they focus on. Is a private school, and that's there. Besides restaurants, there's massage therapy. They have a complete health facility there. They have restaurants. They have stores. If you were interested in opening up a store, even, and you wanted to work right close to your home, there's spots available that you can open up your own store of whatever type or business that you wanted. But it's all there in the distance, and you're still in the same community. It looks like you're not, but you're all in the community doing this. They have a bride place for you to barbecue. We call it barbecue. They say bride.
Right.
All of this. Now, this one place was actually everything. It actually included all of the furniture, so you can buy. The furniture comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a cash deal and you're coming from the States and you just say, I want to go and move into this place and I don't want to move anything just other than my personal belongings.
Right.
There you go.
Yep.
You know, so again, this
Turnkey ready.
turnkey.
Right.
You have to decide on the lifestyle
Mhm.
and say, I want this, but I don't want all of that. I just want the house emptied. I want to ship my stuff. I want to buy it there. You know, this one had 2 patios,
Mhm.
and I love that was the second patio,
Mm-hmm.
which was beautiful too. This patio, indoor, outdoor patio area that you could use this room year round.
And it's so large too.
So large.
Mhm.
So, because I said, I'm going to really miss my yard and garden,
Mhm.
but I could turn this into a garden room
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just
you
have
could.
container gardens.
Mhm.
So that solved my itch. You know, I was like, wait,
Got scratches.
yeah,
Huh?
got to scratch it. We're getting a little older, but I said, you know what? But how can we fix this?
Mhm.
And then the rest of the facility, the whole place, the lands there, you had so many places to visit.
Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
from the wild part of the park area.
Yes.
You know, we love to go to the gym and work out and do what we can there. They had that. That's on the property. So we were saying, what are we missing? Wonderful food that is delicious
Yes.
and fresh. The restaurants. Oh my gosh, we had lunch.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, the tour was so long that we had to stop for a lunch break because the tour would basically take you the whole day. So we stopped, and our tour guide, and this is on the property. We're having lunch right there. This beautiful restaurant, and I'm not sure the name, but this restaurant is there in the main pavilion when you walk in, and they have these beautiful statues, and we're eating right there outside, and our whole family of 14 right there, and we decided to have our lunch there, and then continue.
And the food was excellent.
Yeah, and then continue the tour, and we had everything from seafood, Italian food. Everyone enjoyed their meals. Some had champagne. It was beautiful. The experience is beautiful. The people were beautiful. The atmosphere, the vibe was very warm.
The vibe was real warm.
Very warm.
Yep.
And you know, and so you have to say, what do I see myself here?
Yes.
You know, this is not on buying the house because we went over some of the details and we're looking at how beautiful. So being mesmerized by that, but then you have to take the responsibility on how. But with these new properties here, you don't have to worry about some of that stuff because
Mhm.
all of those things, these are new properties. So you're not going to have to worry, do anything other than to go and apply as a new owner
Right.
because there is no previous owners in this and the properties right now that we're looking at. So the bond attorney wouldn't apply. You're going to be either figuring out whether you're going to be a cash pay
Yes.
or you're going to be getting financing. And then your financing is going to be legal because it's going to be proper. You're going to have a bank, and then you'll go through all of the steps that they submit you to, and then do the registration. See, all of that process is going to be done with your actual enrolled real estate agent.
Right.
Because again, you're going to be using someone enrolled. I don't think, for me, I would ever probably go to Africa and buy property the first time and not knowing how the process works without going completely with a company that was licensed, bonded, estate, um, people. Because to go and do something and think it's a hookup and it's wonderful and it's great because they have some property that they know somebody, for me, that wouldn't work because I've bought too many properties already
Yes.
in the States, and those things usually don't end well. And I would definitely not want to take that opportunity in a foreign place to me, even though it's the motherland and it's our home. We don't know anything about it. We don't know anything other than what we see because we haven't really lived there. And again, I've heard people from that have lived there for years, and they're telling me good stories. But then the ones that are telling the bad stories, we have to also remember we have to do our part, our homework too. What is the homework that you need to do? What are the things that you need to do to make sure that you're correct in what's going to happen, in the near future for your life.
Right.
Those things are very important. Yeah.
This particular one, I think it had a 4-bedroom house and then available pool on the top.
Oh,
Hmm.
this pool is this is an apartment, so the pool is a community pool. This is one of the apartments again, in
Yes,
a 3-bedroom, and this is the rooftop pool that's available for these residents that live in this area of these penthouse apartments or
Right.
3-bedroom apartments. It's
I think
exquisite.
they have 4 too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And when you look at the view that you get from there, and mind you, there is pools at the bottom as well too. So
Mhm.
there's more pools, but this is just a rooftop pool, and then you can kind of see the Holstein City. The view shows you the Holstein City area when you're looking out. So it's absolutely gorgeous, and you can also reserve it for private parties. I
Yes,
was
you
told
can.
too.
You can. Yeah.
So if you wanted to have a function there, some kind of a business meeting, intimate setting, or just your family, everything is set up there. And and they even give you information if you need people like caterers or whatever you want.
Right.
I asked if they had housekeeping there. They didn't, but they said they plan to have that on board as well. But right now, you can bring in and hire housekeepers because most people do to come in and do that, and any other things that you want from laundry services. By the way, the ones that were furnished even came with the washers and dryers as well too. You see that view?
It's
All of this is
beautiful.
all Stein City.
Hmm.
So you're still in the city, and then they have all of these. Oh, also the horses.
Yes,
Yes.
equestrian.
Yes.
Yes. Hmm.
So they have that, and saw children taking lessons, and older people there too, and it's just beautiful. So there's something for everyone. If you're a wildlife person, you want to go out and take photos, or you get your binoculars out and look at the birds.
Hmm.
There was enough, and there's that beautiful lagoon. There was enough there to occupy me, I feel, and my husband probably for the rest of our life.
Our life. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then to be able to go and visit neighboring places.
Mhm.
And so we're just trying to figure out, like I said, the do's and the don'ts, how much we want to do and how much we really don't want to do, because it
Mhm.
sounds wonderful, but then you have to figure out again where you are in your life.
Exactly. And
Yes.
where we are, since we're gardeners,
Yes.
and we have a prototype where we live at now, and we call our garden channel our Back to Eden garden. And Africa really is where Eden was, the cradle of civilization.
Yes.
So our prototype, the stamp on our front of our door, shaped like the continent of Africa, and her writing a book was all prophetic. Our Creator Yahweh was leading us to Africa, and that's where we're going to be living at. But we, as she said,
So
we got.
he's speaking prophecy.
Yes, I'm speaking prophecy,
Yeah.
and we're giving you the steps and protocols in case you would like to consider either having property there, investment property,
Just visiting.
or visiting.
Yeah.
You know that your misconception of what the news channels, some of these Christian channels that just looking at kids with flies on them. That's not true. You can see how beautiful it is to live in Africa, and so you can raise your possibilities from your life where you are now. Say, well, maybe I could have a property in Africa. Maybe, or, I could have investment properties. So this is a good thing for us to show you how Africa is now been modernized.
And
So,
they're all over YouTube. And
yes.
I wanted to add this when he said the Christians. I'm truly a believer. And what I would say to you about the flies on the mouth and the kids, once upon a time, there's a once upon a time for every one of us. And the thing is, in the villages, they live a lot of different lifestyles. Some of them like their culture. It's not a disrespect to want to live in a village made from mud stones. There's nothing wrong with that.
And some of them still
And
do.
I respect that to the highest. It's
Yes.
beautiful,
Mhm.
and I love the relationships that how they do, even with the elders. I was hearing that no one is older. I found so many videos where there are so many older people.
Yes,
The culture, the way they care for them, and being an herbalist and seeing how they are using these principles and how they I love that they always have a story to tell that's like a fable, not a fable, but I'm not going to call it by the right name, but I love it when they give these examples of their lives, and it's always with a story, and it's so beautiful that when they tell you something, it's like a proverb. Excuse me. It's a proverb,
Exactly.
and they'll give you an old proverb from one of their elders, and I think it's so beautiful because the children always hand these things down. So I don't care if you're a believer or a non-believer. The thing is that believe that life can only get better when we help it to get better.
Exactly.
So if there's children with flies, maybe that's your goal to go over there and say, now I'm here.
Yes.
You know what? I've used my money the right way. I have a place that I call home. Now, for me, I've already visited 2 schools there. My husband, we went to, and I know that's where I'll be at. It's helping children,
Right.
helping elders, herbs,
She's a child
teaching.
whisperer.
I found a new place to do it. In the States, I've done it all my life. But I also found that the need was not there anymore because
Right.
the appreciation wasn't there.
Exactly.
And again, where you're valued, that's where you go.
And they really loved you.
And it's not so much as them loving me, I love them.
Right.
So the fire was
Right.
in me again to say, and it's not to teach them on my American ways. They're teaching
Right.
me something.
Exactly.
They're giving to me. And I can really just tear up and cry when I think about that. How much you learn from a child's smile.
Yes. And they didn't have iPads or anything. These children lived in low income, I like to say impoverished conditions.
Yeah, one of
but
the
the
schools.
houses were still modern, livable. But they were smiling. They were
Yes.
playing with one another, smiling. You don't see that here in America. Very rarely do you see children without electronic devices that they're looking down. They can't see nothing in life because they keep looking at this electronic device. They're missing everything, and adults too. See,
And what
but
I like was they were happy.
they were very happy.
I heard children's laughter, and the little boy that was so curious about me, he was curious about my grandchildren. And even though he didn't speak a lot of English, he said, I'm going to attempt to communicate with
Yes.
you. He's 9 years old. And
Yes.
he sat there and he wanted to know about my grandchildren.
Yes.
He wanted to know about this and that. And he smiled, and then he told me about his little brother, his age. So all what I'm saying is that this is a journey for us. And we have been here today telling you about buying homes, but we also have to tell you the backstory
Exactly.
on why we want to buy a home.
Exactly.
And the parts about planning, the financing, all of that is a very intricate part. But we're here to do the due diligence, and we will be bringing you more videos this year, probably about different times and different places to go. And this is the estate agent, actually for Stein City. He is part of the family, the Stein family,
Right.
actually.
Her owner.
Yes. One of the grandsons or something, I'm not sure, but his last name is the same. And he was giving us an overview of the map on what we can do. And as you can see, the wheels are turning. That's my daughter, my son-in-law, and my son is there. And we are all making preparations in our hearts and in our minds to do the due diligence, and the other grandparents to say what we would like to do
Right.
and how will we accomplish that in our grandchildren. But everybody was on board to say that this is definitely a place that we could live, and they saw that you could see yourself living there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So this will be the last of the series that we're bringing to you on Stein City for now. It doesn't mean that we won't come back with more
We will.
later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're planning a trip now, and it's just a matter of legal issues on how long it's going to be before we get back to Africa, but it will be
Exactly.
this year.
Yes.
And how long we're going to stay so we can accomplish and wrap up all the things so we can go ahead and decide to make that move.
Mhm.
You know, whether it will be selling a property or we just decide to just take that move in another way. We have some different irons in the fire right
Yes.
now already, and we're working on them. And we're always never not without prayer. We're prayerful about everything, so we already know our footsteps are being ordered.
Yes, they are.
You know, and we just want to remind you that no mission is impossible, and we can do all things through
Yahshua Messiah.
who gives us the strength. So please be sure to like and subscribe and join us as we continue our journey from Genesis.
To Revelation's epic explorations. Come with us.
Come with us.
And one more thing, I have a saying that was on Shawshank Redemption with
That's
Morgan
right.
Freeman and Tim Robbins. Get busy living or get busy dying, but you can't do both.
I prefer the first.
We prefer the first.
Take care.
Take care, people.
Until next time.
Oso balalo lutando ngeke lamba lwangu balala.